Let's get to NBC News correspondent for investigations, Tom Winter, for the latest on what we know about the Highland Park shooting. So we know that authorities say there was this confession by the suspect. How does that impact the investigation by police and really the prosecutors putting together their case now?
In some ways it impacts it a lot, in other ways it doesn't. So until he enters a guilty plea, the investigation and all the evidence gathering and all the work that needs to go into it has to continue at this point. So, and as you just heard from Maggie, there's an ongoing investigation. Is there anybody else here who could be on the hook from a criminal standpoint? So I think that's going to be a focus going forward. Until he enters a guilty plea, they still got to gather all the evidence, and it is enormous. We're talking about over 83 shell casings that have been found. They got to find the bullets on the other end of that, map it out on the street, put it all together. Still a lot of work left to be done.
Tom, I think one of the biggest questions on everyone's mind is how is it possible that this happened, that this particular person was able to legally purchase these guns with what we now have pieced together about his past, the encounters with police prior, his social media presence. What does that mean in the context of red flag laws in Illinois if those things didn't trigger something there?
Right. So, these are going to be simple answers to very complicated questions. There was nothing legally that would have prohibited him from buying the gun. So despite the fact that they found 16 knives, a dagger, 12-inch dagger, 24-inch samurai sword at the home, that was not enough. It was not in violation of the law. Despite the fact that some relatives, somebody said that he was going to harm himself, despite the fact that somebody said that he had a suicide attempt, it was not enough. It did not trigger the particular legal thresholds needed to deny him from the gun. And then to your point, there was nobody that called in either to law enforcement or went to the courts directly to ask for that red flag law to be enacted to take the guns out of the home. So he was able to keep the guns after he had purchased him. This is the biggest challenge with all of this. There's so many different loopholes and so many different parts of the law. It's really difficult to get their hands on it.
What is this shooting telling us about the relationship between the FBI and then local law enforcement agencies?
Well, I think the FBI is doing exactly what their role is here. They are providing their evidence response team. They helped find this individual. They have enormous technical prowess. And I will tell you, because I've seen it at the Boston Marathon bombing trial, for instance, they will actually map out with GPS where each one of those bullets landed. They will construct a detailed video timeline that'll be something worthy of the types of videos that, frankly, we produce here. It will be abundantly clear, and the presentation to the jury, if we ever see it, will be very impressive. So that's their role in this particular instance when there is not a federal crime for them to levy against this individual.
All right. Tom Winter, thanks so much for reporting. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Tom.